Did you know American workers clock about 400 more hours than employees in many other developed countries? Why is that? I'll give you a hint. It's not because we all love working so much. The truth is, our financial systems make it harder to step away. Healthcare is tied to employment for most families, housing costs keep climbing, and workplace culture often rewards those who stay late, answer emails at all hours, or sacrifice personal time for professional gain. So people stay on the clock, not because they want to, but because they feel like they have to. That's why burnout has become so common, and why conversations about work-life balance are happening now more than ever. But here's the question. Is work-life balance even possible? Create space, pick your pace. Hi, I'm Keith Demetriades, certified financial planner and certified Kingdom advisor. And today we're talking about work-life balance, but probably not in the way you've heard before. When most people talk about work-life balance, they focus on ideas like setting boundaries or improving time management. Those things are band-aids, not long-term solutions. You have to look at the bigger picture. Otherwise, it's easy to buy into two common misconceptions. Let's talk about those. The first is the mistake we make in assuming that true balance must always come later in life because it's something we earn after years of the hustle and the grind. Work now, play later, right? But the real risk isn't prioritizing balance too soon. It's waiting too long. It's easy to assume there's plenty of time to slow down once you've worked long enough, saved enough, or reached some milestone. But that's not really how it works. Promotions often come with more pressure, not less. You may earn more, but the demands of your time and the expectations that come with it tend to grow, right alongside your paycheck. And then there's lifestyle creep, the tendency to spend more as you earn more. It's easy to assume a higher salary will finally give you breathing room, but those extra dollars disappear quickly for many people. You upgrade the house, you take on new expenses, or you add new commitments. And before you know it, you're working just as hard, only now you need that higher income to maintain that newer lifestyle. Meanwhile, what about those meaningful experiences you've been putting off? They don't always wait for you. The trip you plan to take with your kids feels different once they're busy with their own lives. When they're young, spending a week away feels like an adventure. But fast forward a few years, and those same kids may be juggling jobs, school, or relationships of their own. And suddenly, getting everyone together isn't so simple. Or maybe you've told yourself you'll take up a hobby, learn to golf, get back into music, or finally start painting. But by the time you have the space for it, your interests may have shifted, or your energy just isn't the same. Even your social life can change. The friends you always meant to reconnect with, they may have moved away or built new routines that no longer leave room for those casual get-togethers you imagined. And don't forget, we're all aging. You have to consider your own well-being. Maybe you're waiting for retirement to travel, since you'll finally have the time and the freedom to explore the places you've always dreamed about. But travel that feels easy and exciting in your 50s may feel far more demanding in your 70s. The hikes you once looked forward to may seem exhausting. The bucket list adventures you keep putting off may feel like too much work by the time you're ready. The point is, waiting for balance doesn't just risk missing out on time. It risks missing out on the right time. Create space and pick your pace. The second mistake people make is thinking balance requires a massive financial sacrifice. To be fair, it's easy to see why people think this way. For most of us, the connection between time and money feels pretty straightforward. If you're working fewer hours, you must be earning less. After all, that's how most people experience money growing up. When you're paid by the hour, more time equals more pay, and less time equals less pay. Even salaried workers are conditioned to believe that success comes from extra hours. Promotions often go to the person who shows up early, stays late, or works through their weekends. We naturally equate stepping back with stepping down. Less time at work must mean fewer dollars coming in. That feels very risky for most people, and that's the trap. Because when you believe that balance can only happen after you've put in enough hours, or that taking time now will leave you behind financially, you end up stuck in an endless loop of waiting for the right time. So let me set the record straight. Balance isn't something you earn, and you don't have to sacrifice financial security to achieve it. It's something you build. So how do you do that? It all comes down to just one thing. Create space, pick your pace. The key to balance is margin. which is the space between what you make and what you spend. See, most people rely on their paycheck to cover everything: their mortgage, utilities, groceries, vacations, and even the money they put towards savings. The idea of working less feels impossible because they need that check to pay for life. When your paycheck is your only income, cutting hours feels like cutting oxygen. Margin gives you room to breathe. So let's talk about how to increase your margin. First, take a closer look at your fixed costs. Where's your money really going? When money feels tight, people often focus on cutting small expenses by doing things like skipping coffee runs or canceling streaming services. That's not wasted effort, but it's rarely enough to create meaningful change. Real flexibility comes from controlling the big expenses, like the housing, the car payments, the insurance. For example, refinancing your mortgage to reduce monthly payments, adjusting insurance coverage to better match your needs, or even downsizing a car lease can free up hundreds or even thousands of dollars a month. That's the kind of money that lets you build margin without overhauling your entire lifestyle. Next, stop letting extra income create a new norm. When you earn more, it's easy to feel justified spending more. A raise comes in, a bonus lands, or your business has a strong year. Suddenly those upgrades you've been putting off feels less like a splurge and more like the next logical step: a nicer car, better vacation, or finally moving forward with that home project. It doesn't feel excessive, it feels reasonable. But as your lifestyle expands, so do your expectations. That nicer car becomes your new standard. The upgraded vacation isn't something special, it's just the kind of trip you take now. It's not saying you should give up what you've earned, but lifestyle upgrades come with strings attached. You have to decide how much time and energy you're willing to trade to make those changes, because they decrease your margin. Create space, pick your pace. Finally, create income that isn't tied to your paycheck. This is a simple but powerful concept. When you have money coming in from investments or other sources, the earning equation changes. Time no longer equals money. Why is that important? Well, think of your paycheck as a bucket, one that's constantly being emptied. Every bill, every expense, every financial obligation drains from that same source. No matter how much you earn, if everything depends on refilling that one bucket every 2 weeks, you're always under pressure to keep it full. Now consider what happens when you build income from investments, dividends, or other sources. You're adding a second bucket, one that keeps refilling itself. And that second bucket doesn't have to be huge to make a difference. Even a modest income can help cover a few key expenses, which means your paycheck doesn't have to carry the entire load. Once you've created margin, you've given yourself something powerful. It's called flexibility. That's what allows you to step back when you want to say yes to new opportunities, or just breathe easier knowing your lifestyle isn't riding on every paycheck. Remember, the point isn't to walk away from success or to sacrifice your financial stability. It's to build a life where you have options. Create space, pick your pace. I'm Keith Demetriades. If you found this discussion helpful, please like and share this video with others. And be sure to hit that notification bell so you don't miss our newest videos. Be a savvy steward. Make your life count.